Well, good morning. I am here today with Maddie Wade, who actually submitted 3 films for the film festival this year. And I think, Maddie, you've been part of the film fest since the very first year. Am I right about that? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, we're glad to have you. And I look forward to talking about My Happy Place, Nice to Meet You, and Camping with the Crew, which are all very, very different films. But maybe you could just start out a little bit and tell us kind of maybe what inspired you to start making films, and maybe if there's an inspiration for one of these or all of these that kind of drove you to make these particular films.
definitely. Yeah. I have been making films since just as long as I've had access to a camera. I used to make little videos on my Nintendo DS in elementary school, and then
Wow.
yeah, after that, my parents bought me a little point and shoot camera, and I made videos on that, and then it's just definitely been a theme throughout my life, and now I get to study that in school because that is definitely what I think I was made to do and I love to do. As far as these films, I'll talk about Camping with the Crew. I really love my friends and just wanted to capture the just fun summer memories and
That
you know
definitely came through. Like I felt like I was friends with them after that film. Like that was really fun. Yeah, yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, yeah. And I know, I think my friends appreciate it as well, just having these videos to look back on and just be thankful and appreciate the times that we've had together.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice to be able to capture those moments with a filmmaker. To have like it's like a video yearbook
Yeah.
to keep forever. That's great. That's great. Well, let's talk a little bit about your process because in that one you were just kind of almost making a documentary with your friends. So
Yeah,
I'm not sure what you told them before you guys went on the camping trip, but with some of the other ones, you had to deal with actors, and it's kind of a different process, and people are really interested in the process that filmmakers have. So, can you just walk us through a little bit about your approach and the process that you use, because even the camera techniques were very different for those films.
definitely, definitely. Yeah, these 3 projects were all very distinct in their processes. For Camping with the Crew, we had this camping trip planned, and I was considering making a video, and my friends encouraged me to. So I was just like, hey guys, I'm gonna be recording this weekend, by the way. And, they just hammed it up for the camera. So I really didn't have to do too much. And I was just shooting B-roll of whatever we were doing, and then improvised a few like talking head segments to give the viewer some idea of what was going on and like stitch everything together. And then
Right,
just a lot of that was in the editing, just putting it all together and to the music and everything to get the feeling that I wanted there.
right, right. I'm sorry about your breakfast. Without spoiling the film, yeah, that
Terrible,
that was
absolutely
depressing.
terrible. But makes for an entertaining video, so you win some, you lose some, I guess.
I think my favorite part with that one was when you were filming your friend making the fire the last morning, and he's like, Maddie, could you wait until things are a little bit more going and better before you start filming me? I just thought that was so cute.
Yeah, yeah, we were trying so hard to survive out in the woods. Um, so then, even different from that, for My Happy Place, I actually shot that several summers ago. I usually go to East Texas every summer to visit a lot of my relatives who are down there. So I had shot that years ago and didn't have a specific plan for the footage, but was just, getting in the practice. I just always like to be shooting when I see things I think are pretty or moments that I want to capture. I do. So I shot that partially just on my iPhone and then partially on a Canon 7D that I brought with me. And that had just been on my computer for a couple years until last April when I suddenly had all this time on my hands.
Wow, imagine that.
Yeah, crazy.
Mm,
And then I saw this footage and I was like, oh man, I never ended up doing anything with this. So I decided to just cut it together and
yeah,
just really try and capture the feeling I get when I'm down there and that nostalgia and just warmth um, of being with my family and being in the place where I spent the first half of my childhood. Um, and then for Nice to Meet You, a completely different process because it's narrative, it's scripted. So that was actually an assignment for one of my classes at VCU. And so I wrote a script. I wrote the script for that, and the rules we had on the script were we could only use certain camera movements. So for that script, we were focusing on dolly movement. So
interesting.
that's why when you're watching the film, you'll notice there's a lot of like forward and backward between these three different groups of people in the park. And so, yeah, when I was writing the script, I knew we had limitations on these movements. So I was trying to think of a story in a situation in which you could really like play with that. So I decided on three different conversations. Park,
Right. But
yeah.
that's one of the things that while you were talking that struck me about a lot of the conversations I've been having is that um, I think it's important for our audiences to know that most of the films in our film fest weren't just filmed by the filmmakers, they were written by them as well.
Hmm.
And that is maybe not always the case in the professional world. A lot of the people that are running, I would assume, running the cameras, doing the directing and photography are bringing somebody else's vision to life.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely a unique thing. And I think when you're less experienced and younger, you probably are doing a lot more of the roles yourself. So I've
mm-hmm.
actually really enjoyed, since going to school, getting to collaborate with other filmmakers. Like for Nice to Meet You, I got to have a director of photography running the camera. And so then didn't have to worry about the technical aspects of that as much. I had someone come in and do sound boom op for me, and I had an assistant director. So all of those things. It's just an interesting trade-off because you're
Right.
relinquishing that control, but also it's freeing you to think about the whole project in a more creative way and in less of a nitty-gritty technical way.
Right. It's more of a collaboration as opposed to just a single focus. Yeah, yeah. Really amazing. And such a great opportunity to, as you said, work with other people who are as enthusiastic as you are. Yeah, I think that's wonderful. So did you have any challenges besides COVID, challenges that maybe you didn't anticipate, or maybe because of the pandemic that made it a little bit harder to do some of this?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I wrote one of the reasons I wrote Nice to Meet You to be outdoors is because, that's a safer option right now for sure.
Right.
But one of the biggest challenges being on set with Nice to Meet You was definitely the assignment was a one take film. So I'm sure you noticed there were no cuts in the entire thing. It was just
Right.
3 minutes, one take. And
And
you
for
ask
those that don't
anyone,
understand that lingo, what that means is start to finish, the camera's rolling. It doesn't stop, for a change in costume or to give somebody a chance to cough or whatever. It's just start to roll the camera and you finish after 3 minutes. Yeah.
exactly right. Yeah, it's more like a play or something in that way. You can't do movie magic and just cut and fix something. You have to get it all right. And so that's notoriously a really hard thing to do in
Right.
filmmaking. And there are
Right.
filmmakers who have done just absolutely insane things with that. I'm sure a lot of people watched 1917 this past year, and they employed that throughout the film, and it's just incredibly impressive because it is so much harder to do.
Yeah.
Um, but so yeah, we were trying that on a much smaller scale, but it was still really challenging. We did several rehearsals and we did many takes, mainly because I wanted the timing to be really specific with the camera just popping into this conversation and pulling out right at the right second. And it just took a lot of time. And what it
Yeah.
looked like on set was I had my camera operator holding the gimbal and the camera, and then I was had my hand on his shoulder and was like he was running backwards blindly, and I was guiding him so that we could get this shot, and we had to do that, time and time and time again. But
Oh, that's funny.
yeah,
The things you don't see behind the scenes, right? Those are always
yeah,
the hilarious ones. Yeah. Wow. Well, that's great. Well, I mean, you have to be inventive, whatever gets the shot.
definitely.
Yeah. So, are there any funny stories that from behind any of these films besides the burnt breakfast? Maybe some of
Uh,
these we didn't get to see.
um, well, yeah, on camping with the crew. Um, I didn't I didn't want to include this, but actually the first night we were there, a couple people got sick. And so I
Oh
say
no.
something in my narration like we kind of had a rough night last night.
Yeah.
A
Right.
few of my friends fell ill and it was a big bummer. They felt better the next day, but
Okay. Yeah.
did
Yeah.
not include that in the video.
That was nice. Yeah. That was nice.
Yeah. Um And then on Nice to Meet You, actually, we had the sequence and we've been doing take after take, and so it was me, the camera operator, I was guiding him. Then we also had a boom operator running alongside us with the boom, dipping into all these shots. And then probably after take like 6 or 7, one of my other friends who hadn't been on set walks up and switches places with the boom operator because he was significantly taller, and he's like,
Uh,
buddy, you look like you're struggling, let me try this. And yeah, he ended up booming the shot
so
that
and
stopped.
again for the audiences that don't know, the boom is like the long handle with a mic at the end of it, right? That you
Yeah,
can't see in the shots that picks up the actors' voices and sounds.
yeah, that's right.
And heavy, I would assume.
Yeah, yeah, it's tricky. And they're running around too. It's not an easy job.
Yeah. Well, that's fun. Well, so you've done the film festival a couple times. So, this might not be always the same experience for you that it is for somebody who's never seen their films on the big screen. But how was it? How was it? I know you weren't able to be there this year, but how is it seeing the films, and hearing audience reactions?
Man, yeah, there's really nothing like it. It's so exhilarating and it's so nerve-wracking because you've like created your little like baby of a film or whatever, and then you're just giving it to all these strangers, and you're just sitting there, like in my case at least, like palms super sweaty while this
Aw.
auditorium full of people just like reacts, and you're just holding your breath, hoping they laugh at the right moments. So
No, there was plenty of laughter and you know, really lots of great feedback from the film festival for your films, Maddy. You have quite an audience, quite a fan base that you've developed here in Loudon. So we hope that you'll keep doing it. And I wonder, because you're in film school, do you guys, you know, share when you have projects? Do you screen them with your classmates? And, you know, like I kind of wonder, it's one thing to have an audience that's not in film school see your films, but what is it like when you have peers looking at your projects? Is that harder or easier?
it's actually in my experience been super encouraging. We haven't been able to get like the whole program together, but when we finish projects, I've like met with close friends and shared our films, and it is just honestly so inspirational to see what other people are doing, and just the creativity that
Yeah.
and the passion that my peers have. It's been such a blessing, and I've absolutely cherished that opportunity.
Oh, that's so great. Well, I know from being here at the Art Center how important it is to give artists an outlet for their creations. So we went ahead with this year's Film Fest in person, even though, you know, there's always a risk, you know, with things like that. But it was well received, and I think that doing these virtual Q&As really gives everybody an opportunity to get the experience and the time with each of the filmmakers. So as people hopefully will be watching your films, and I know you have a YouTube channel where you post things regularly. Do you want to share that with everybody?
Totally, yeah. Thank you so much. If you've listened this long, you can check out my YouTube channel. It's Maddie Wade Films, and you can scan this QR code if you want to get to
There
my
we
channel.
go.
But yeah,
There we
Maddy Wade
go.
Films on YouTube. I have lots of films up there. If you're interested in my work, appreciate it. Please subscribe.
Yeah, that's great. And we'll definitely put the link online as well so that people can see these and other films that you're working on. So
Fantastic.
yeah, keep us posted on things that you're doing during the year, and we look forward to seeing more from you. Our next year is our 5th year of doing the Cabin Fever
It's
Film
amazing.
Fest.
It's
So yeah,
amazing.
so get ready.
All right, all right.
Planning. Yeah. Well, thank you, Maddy, so much for the time today, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.